En esa lectura vamos a escuchar las opiniones de un capellán cristiano que dejó de creer pero que ahora continúa como un capellán humanista y que aplica muchas características cristianas en su nueva labor de guiar a personas que ya no creen.
But what does a humanist chaplain do?
Yeah, I mean,
It sounds like a paradox or
No,
oxymoron or something.
sure, but like when you think about it, like at our university, at USC, the dean of religious life says, look, in this context, religion is the pursuit of life's ultimate questions. Where do we come from? Where are we going? What happens when we die? Why are some people good? Where did evil come from? All those big questions, right? And he says, look, anybody who's helping people answer those questions, they're a religious leader. And so when he invited me to come to the campus as the humanist chaplain, he said, I've got 90 different ministries ministering to all the students who believe in supernatural realities, okay?
Yeah.
He said, half of our campus doesn't believe in God, and there's nobody looking after those people's spiritual lives. And so you say, well, what does that mean? Well, what it means is, there are all these kids who would say, I don't believe in supernatural reality, but I want to make the most of my life, and I want to be a good person, and I want to make the world a better place. And I say, oh, I'm here to help you do that. We're going to run meetings where we're going to inspire each other to love each other and to reach out to other people in love and to try to make their lives better. We're going to try to do missions trips. We're going to bring people onto the campus to encourage people to use science in order to build better relationships. And when they say why, you say, oh, because this life is all we have, and we want to make the most of it. And we've all come to the conclusion together that the way to make the most of your life is not by maximizing your income or by using the most drugs or by having sex with as many partners as possible. It's by building loving relationships and doing meaningful work and reflecting on the wonder of just being alive in the first place. And that's what we're about. We've come to that conclusion that that's the best way to be happy, is to make other people happy. And they go, oh, I want to be part of that.
En esta segunda parte, él da una nueva perspectiva sobre la idea de la inmortalidad comparada a la idea de que esta vida posiblemente es todo lo que tenemos y por qué debemos valorarla.
Life is this amazing thing. The wonder of it, the fact that you can see your own hand and that you don't even know how your eyes are working and you don't know how the electrical currents are working, but all this amazing stuff is happening. The wonder of life, like just the sheer improbability of you and I being here, conscious, alive, liking each other, connecting in the way that we are right now. It's so amazing. And I guess what I would say to you is it's like you won the cosmic lottery. It's unseemly, isn't it? If somebody wins $1 million and they stand around whining because it wasn't 10 million, like, here's the deal. I didn't exist for 13 billion years. And after I die, I won't exist for billions more. These 90 years or 70 years or whatever I get, this is my brief vacation
from death,
from non-existence. It really is. And so the thing is that I went on a vacation a couple of years, my family. A rich friend of ours let us stay in his beach house in Hilton Head.
Sweet.
And we were there for 2 weeks, and it was like a mansion. It was beautiful. It was, and we were just loving it. Now, as the vacation wore on, when we got to about 3 or 4 days to go, it starts to set in. This is almost over. Now, I guess you could sit around for the next 3 days and go like, that's not fair. Why don't we get to live here forever? Why does anyone else have this house? This is our. You could do that. But really the smart thing to do is to go, oh my gosh, we get to be here at all. Let's go to the beach. Let's eat the food. Let's drink it up. And then on the last day, if you're smart, you clean up the house. Because what you want to know is that the next family that comes in, you take pleasure in going, they're going to have a great time here. I hope they have as much fun as we had. And you celebrate that you got it at all. And I just think like that's like death is it puts a bookend on this wonderful thing. But it's part of it. And so, for me, I'm not afraid of being dead. I didn't exist for 13 billion years, and it didn't bother me one little bit. I don't think I will be bothered when I don't exist. I worry about the transition a little bit.
Sure.
But the way I get through that, in many ways, is it's a little bit like when you ride a roller coaster or when you go to a good movie. Have you ever been to a really good movie?
Sure.
And then as you're walking out, you see the people lined up that are just about ready to go in, and you sort of nod at them with a big smile, and you go like, yeah, you're in for it. Oh, you're going to love this. And you take vicarious joy in what's coming for them. And I think that on some level, we don't deal with death very well because we haven't trained ourselves to take pleasure in other people's joy.
En esta tercera parte, él argumenta de que no debemos temer a la muerte, y más bien debe ser un recordatorio de cómo aprovechar nuestras vidas al máximo.
And the other thing, honestly, the worst thing about promising people immortality is that it undermines their sense of urgency to make the most of this life. It creates in them a false sense that somebody's coming to save us, that somebody's going to fix it, that you don't have to work for justice because justice will be taken care of.
Who cares about the environment?
Yeah, and so the problem with immortality is that it tends to undermine the value of this life. If this life is precious because it's finite and you all of a sudden tell me it's infinite, you devalue my currency. And this life is the only currency that we have. And so that's my biggest problem. I understand the desire when you're at somebody's funeral to say, we'll see him again, or he's not really dead. But I think that what we need to learn instead is to grieve well. And I think that's the other part of learning to deal with death, is learning to in a sense, to celebrate that this person got to live at all. If you think in that cosmic lottery term that you brought up, to go like, Joe was so fortunate. Let's talk about all the things Joe did and saw, and to teach ourselves and to teach our children that life is precious, and we should celebrate Joe. We should honor Joe because because in this moment he made the most of it. In that moment he made the most of it. None of us make the most of it in every moment, but we should be challenging one another to take it more seriously and to drink it in more joyfully, and people start to talk about like what really mattered in a person's life, not their money, not their status, but their relationships and their love and the moments of transcendence in their lives. That, in a sense, a good funeral inspires me to want to live a better life.
En esta cuarta parte, él dice que el sufrimiento que muchos seres humanos atraviesan en esta vida solo cambiará si nosotros actuamos.
The thing that's the hardest for me, Hemant, is I've spent most of my life working in inner city ghettos. And when a young person dies who's known almost nothing but suffering, that is an outrage. And it is very difficult for me to deal with. And the only way I know how to deal with it is to recommit myself to trying to shape the world in such a place that it doesn't happen again. But it's an unmitigated tragedy. And there's no amount of supernaturalism that can wish that away. And there's no amount of secular perspective that makes that not horrible. Like, we live in a world, in a universe that is beautiful and amazing, but that is also cruel and unjust. That's the thing, like, the universe doesn't care. You care. I care. The universe produces creatures, has produced creatures that care. Bonobos care. Elephants care. You and I care. But the universe, it doesn't care. And so if there's going to be any justice or any love or any difference made in the world, it falls to us sentient creatures who are capable of love to make that happen. And death is a real good reminder that we better be busy.
En esta última parte, el entrevistador admite que como secular o no creyente, se le ha hecho difícil llegar su mensaje a la gente.
It's a type of conversation I am so not used to hearing within our movement. In general, because I've heard a lot of atheists talk, I've read a lot of books by atheists, and this is one of the subjects that we are, as a collective,
weak. What I would suggest is that if we don't learn to speak to people's emotional center, if we don't learn to move people emotionally, we're not going to be able to help them live better lives. And you say, like, but wait a second. I mean, there could be so much, like, people don't want to be emotionally manipulated. And I go, like, really? Then why do they go to the movies? Then why do they get on roller coasters?
Why do we read books?
People sign up to feel. They sign up. They're like, please, I need to feel something. Can you help me? I'll pay you $50 if you can move me, you two. and so in a real sense, I'm really convinced that if secularity is just a better way of thinking, it'll never be a movement. A movement is always about a better way of life, and a better way of life is always about moving people towards happiness.